Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this post-mortem video, my recent Blitz game, number 9. My opponent played the center game, which is an interesting line, not too common. So he played e4, I played e5, he played d4 immediately. I couldn't think of the name of this during the game. I get confused between this and the Scotch game. But the Scotch game, the knights come out first and then d4 is played. When d4 is played right away, it's called the center game. And the normal move here is to take. And then white can play this as a very interesting gambit here with c3 that leads to the Danish gambit. And here, let's take a look at that. The game is short, so we have time to look at these variations. So you take on c3, and bishop c4 is the most common move, and c takes b2. So he sacked 2 whole pawns, but bishop takes, and he gets a lot of compensation. He got rapid development, and black will usually have to give back a pawn or two in order to survive. It says d6 here. I usually play this crazy line with knight f6. If you haven't seen this, this is kind of fun. e5 hitting the knight, and then d5 hitting the bishop. And if he takes the knight, how does this go? He takes the knight. You take the bishop right away. This queen takes here is dangerous. That's what it is. What you have in this position, it looks like white maybe is just one, but you have this bishop b4 check. And that's just enough time. Knight c3 saves you just enough time to get back here. Now if you look at this position, got 2 rooks and 3 pieces, 2 rooks, 3 pieces, and black has 4 pawns, 5, 6, and white has 4 or 5 pawns. Plus this pawn is going to be rounded up if black plays correctly. So black can try and play this for a win. I think white can hold, but it's difficult for white to win from this position. So that's an interesting line against the Danish gambit if they try to play that against you. But my opponent played queen takes d4. So that's the second most popular move there, but as you see, the statistics are pretty much in black's favor, so it's just not as good. It loses a tempo to a normal developing move. The queen drops back to e3. And then I didn't play the best move. If you look at the statistics here, a way to get an advantage is to play knight f6. And you don't really need to worry about this pawn push, e4, e5. So the knight comes out here, the pawn comes forward. The knight has a couple of good squares. It can go either here or here. They're both available and attack the queen. And from here, the the knight can be supported by the bishop just by pushing the d-pawn out of the way. So good position for black. Playing d6 probably makes this game about equal, and I'll go ahead and turn on the engine so you can see how it varies during the game. Yeah, see, it shows white as being slightly better here. So we play what I think are fairly normal moves, developing the pieces. Maybe this move a3 was not the best, but h3. It's kind of slow, it seems. Let me go back and look at that. When he played h3, okay, it wasn't one of the top moves, but after h3, there's no way for black to get an advantage. Okay, so I was just curious about that. So that seems to have been a slow move, but I didn't push d4 right away. I hit on this d4 idea later. d5. When I push d5, it turns out to be a very good move. Yeah, so there's f4, which is kind of, white is just continuing his attack. It's maybe a bit premature in this situation. You'll see his king is still in the center, and he gets into a lot of trouble after this. And d5, computer recommends, is the way to refute it. And actually, that was a move I played during the game. If you look at it from my point of view, my pieces are all cramped, so I'm looking to play d5 anyway, just to give some more space and to contest his control of the center here. And I was worried about his pushing d5 here, but it turns out that d5 is I mean, e5 is a terrible move. It's kind of interesting, another variation to look at. When he pushes here, he's threatening my knight. But as I realized, as I was thinking about this during the game, I was talking out loud, this pawn push threatens his queen, so his queen has to move. Then I can grab the knight, and he can grab the knight. And I was thinking, well, I have to retake because he's going to take here and threaten my queen. But I have an even stronger move here. Take the bishop with check. Forces him to retake. Then I grab this pawn, and I'm just a whole piece up. 3 pieces to 2. So this is just winning if he takes. So he didn't take. I mean, he didn't push e5. Instead, he took. And that was the best move as recommended by the computer, but it's still not very good because he's opened himself up to all kinds of trouble. His king being in the center, and I'm going to get a rook on this e-file very quickly. And it starts with some exchanges, which actually helps me because it gets my pieces out to more active posts. Computer doesn't even recommend exchanging. Look, it says move the queen back. It says move the queen to e4 instead of exchanging. But he went ahead with the exchanging, which is kind of logical in this situation. A very human kind of move. I take back with the bishop, and now he can get out of trouble if he castles queenside. But instead, he plays this very aggressive move, c4, and this is like the last straw. And the computer says I can play bishop h4 check right away. I was worried about this bishop being in trouble, and I noticed here that when he tries to trap my bishop, which he does, then I have this check. And so this is the way the game went. And now there's no really good move for white. You can see the computer is vacillating between king e2 and king d1, but both of them are bad. He played king d1, and then I get a rook on the e-file. And there's no square for his queen. The queen runs to c5. Computer says give the queen up by taking on e8, but obviously a desperation move. Now I can take here on d3 and threaten checkmate. And as you can see from the scores here, there's a mate in 5 regardless. So it's game over at this point. He just finished the game quickly by taking my bishop and allowing me to play rook e1 checkmate. And this is a kind of a clever mate. The king can't take the rook because it's defended, and the bishop can't take the rook because the bishop is pinned by the queen. So it's this pin is a vital part, as well as this defense of the rook by the bishop, and the fact that he has no other pieces on the back rank on this side defending that square, and the king has no squares to run to. So that's checkmate, and that was game over, and that was a short game. It was kind of fun, and it shows the dangers of playing too aggressively. That's why a lot of times I recommend castling early and get your king out of the center before opening it up and allowing all kinds of things to happen like that. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and see you next time. And if you have any comments, leave them in the section below. Thanks. Bye.